Hello, I'm Alasdair Macleod and I'm in Madrid on behalf of the GoldMoney Foundation, and with me I have Pedro Schwartz, who is Professor of Economics at San Pablo University in Madrid. Welcome, and it's very, very nice to meet you.
Very glad to be here.
You've been around a long time and you have seen...
How did you discover that? Must be the colour of my hair.
Well, yes, we will suffer from that a little bit. But you have seen an awful lot of change in Spain over the years, and the most recent problems that Spain faces are really quite enormous. What's your take on it? Is there a way out of this, or does your experience sort of indicate that there is a path away from this trouble?
Indeed, it's not the first time in my life that I've seen Spain in trouble and Spain stand up again and go ahead. The longest crisis was just when Franco died. It was at the time of the oil crisis, so the two coincided, and there was a long recession from 74 till 84, 10 years.
And there was huge political uncertainty at the time,
and there was huge political uncertainty, and inflation reached, if I remember rightly, I was at the Bank of Spain then, reached 27% per annum, and we had to change the whole industrial setup, which was based on using lots of energy. And we got out of that and entered the European Union, as it's now called. So I think Spain is on a much better ground now than it was then, and if we do the right thing, the new government coming now in November does the right thing, then I think the economy and the society can function again much better than it has in the last 2 or 3 years.
How confident are you that the government will do the right thing?
Well, it's the Bible that says, don't put your faith in princes, but in the only God. And so, no faith in princes. But I do hope that circumstances will make them do the right thing. Just as our present socialist government, that was doing very much the wrong thing for 6 years, suddenly found itself in such a situation that they changed direction totally and started to do the right thing, that is, started to be more responsible than it used to be. I have great faith in circumstances, much more than in men.
I think I agree with you on that one. And in analysing what the ECB's role is in all this, I felt that they have little option but to stand back and let governments deal with their own problems and maybe just deal with the banks, which themselves are a knock-on and a major problem for the ECB to deal with. But the ECB is now under enormous pressure to start printing money, to buy government debt, to rescue the Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, whoever, from their problems, which would take the pressure off the governments and not force them to take the actions which perhaps they should. Do you think that's...
I think you've described things as they are. In fact, the rules of the ECB forbid them either to the letter or by implication forbid them to carry out, to play the role that they're playing now in buying government debt in the secondary market, because they can't buy it in the first when it's being issued, and other things that they do, other cheating that they do. The ECB is not the institution that will write the fortunes of Europe. It cannot do so unless we think that a huge inflation might help, and I don't think it would. So what they've tried to do in the last meetings of the European Union is to start a parallel institution, the fund, the Stability Fund, the European Financial and Stability Fund. And that one would take over from the ECB, the role the ECB is playing now, and be the ones that save governments and give them finance when they're attacked, as people say, by speculators.
But how is it to be funded?
Well, they are doing it the wrong way, in my opinion, because they're putting some money there, but they are in fact leveraging. That is, they're asking the markets to give them some funds on the basis of the funds they have. And I thought that leveraging was the wrong thing to do.
I think that's what the credit crunch was about, and how we are meant to escape from this sort of behaviour.
So here we are, governments learning the wrong lesson. So I think that one thing that should be contemplated is allowing countries that are in trouble and that have to go broke, leave the euro for some time and come back if they do the right thing. I think the idea, things should be organized so that Greece could leave the euro for a time. And it can be done, but people don't seem to know how to do it. I think it could be done.
Well, it's an interesting point because so many commentators say, well, if Greece left the euro, it would deal with the problem because they'd rather, I think, they want Greece out of the way, in effect. But it seems to me there are two ways in which this can be done. One is that Greece leaves the euro in the formal sense, but retains the euro as the currency. And the other, which I think quite a lot of people are referring to, is that Greece adopts its own currency again, the drachma or whatever they call it, and uses that. Now, the problem I see with the latter course is that as soon as you get a new drachma, it is going to collapse because nobody will have any faith in it. Whereas if they retain the euro, then at least the private sector has got a certain medium of exchange. I mean, what's your take on this problem?
My take is that there should be parallel currencies. That in Greece now you would allow the government to issue drachmas and allow the people who reside in Greece pay their taxes in drachmas and do their operations in that if they wish, or if not, they can write their contracts in euros. So I think the idea would be to have two currencies. We have a lot of experience of that in Latin America, where the dollar and the local peso go together, and I think that in that way you would have the government, instead of saying we are going to reduce the value of your debt by 50%, you would allow the markets to decide with a devaluation of the drachma how much the debt of Greece is worth.
But the debt at the moment is in euros. I mean, is there going to be some mechanism to transfer the debt over?
Well, in fact, they've taken a measure to avoid any games. And now the debt has been transferred, I read in the papers the day before yesterday, to London, located there, so that cannot be devalued except, as they've done it, by 50%, because they've agreed that that's what the haircut they want for that currency. I don't know how they're going to do it, but some people will have to lose with the Greek debt. I mean, if it's not worth what they say it is, well, then it isn't.
Then it isn't, exactly.
Right, and so it was a bad investment. It wasn't as a huge investment because it's not a very large sum compared with the rest of the European Union. And if it's not worth what the paper says, then it has to be worth less. So yes, I think debt holders of Greek debt should take a loss.